Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Today I have a pretty crazy theory about the state of the Dark Zone in Division 2. Before we get into that though, I just want to state that this is purely speculation and that some or none of this could turn out to be true. But with that out of the way, let's hop right into it. Alright, so this stems off of what little information we have so far about the Dark Zone in Division 2. We've been told that some revolutionary changes have been made and that it's a transformed experience, and that's basically from interviews that the devs had at E3, but this next part goes a bit deeper. The UK GameStop website has the Division 2 listed for pre-order, and that's just the standard edition, and on that listing kind of lies some hidden info. In the description, there's a part talking about the renewed Dark Zone experience. In this, it goes on to say what the devs have said, except for a part where it states that the Dark Zone has been, and I quote, designed to provide a fair and exciting experience to all players regardless of their level of progression. Now, this is pretty interesting. The Dark Zone has always been famous for letting you use your builds to the max potential inside, and competing for some of the best loot, so the fact that they're apparently making it so your build doesn't matter seems like an easy way to anger a lot of people who only played the Dark Zone and PvP in the first game, myself included. So why would they do this? Well, for that, let's move on to the next part of this theory. Alright, so now let's look at an interview that SkillUp had at E3 with two of the leads on the Division project as a whole. Now, if you're unaware, SkillUp, despite his often anti-PvP views and controversial topics, does care for the game, and whether or not you side with what he likes about it, I'd say his word is pretty reliable. So at 15:30, which by the way, both this interview and the GameStop listing will be in the description for you to check out if you want. So at 15:30, he asks the devs if survival could return in any form, since it was one of his favorite modes from the Division 1. Right away, Matthews, who is the game director, hands the mic over to Julian Garrity, who's basically like the lead on the whole Division franchise. Now, to me, this signifies that it's a, topic that they're kind of trying to hide, and they're not sure if they want to release the information now or not. But anyway, Julian goes on to say that Survival didn't get its chance to shine in Division 1 due to the split of the community with paid DLC, and he goes on to say they wouldn't be surprised if it returned, which basically confirms that it will indeed return. He goes on to say at the end of the topic, around 16:30, that they can't talk about it. Well, they just did talk about it, right? So why would he drop that info about Survival's return and not any other game modes, which were brought into question at different points of the video? I get that SkillUp asked him a question directly about it, but just as they did with PvP a few minutes prior, he could just say that they can't talk about it from the start. So to me at least, this makes it seem as though it may play a larger role than just a game mode in Division 2 this time around. I'm pretty sure by now you can tell where I'm headed with this. So where in Division 1 is there a place, like described in the GameStop listing, where every player can have a fair and exciting experience despite how much progression they've made? That would be Survival. You can play it at any level, and all your gear is stripped at the start, so everyone starts with just a pistol. So my theory, based on this information, is that Survival-like mechanics will be implemented into the Dark Zone for Division 2. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean that I necessarily am on board with this idea. It depends, really. I mean, if they did this, and it retained the Rogue system, hopefully not 2.0, and it had rewards tied to that, I guess it would be cool. I mean, it's really hard to visualize how it would function, but here's just a rough idea of how I envisioned it could work and be cool. Alright, so imagine that every DZ server is on a 30-minute timer. You can enter whenever you like, but everyone only starts with the same items at the reset of that 30-minute timer. So let's say it just reset, the server can hold, let's say, 50 people, up to teams of 4. Everyone starts with a pistol, and it's just like Survival. You have to go through buildings, sewers, and places to get your first gun and gear. This time around, there'd be no cold or hunger / thirst mechanics, just gearing up and the imminent reset. So once you're ready, you can take on a landmark, which upon killing the boss and completion grants an upgrade for each person on your team for gear in the game. So that's how you progress in the mode itself. So the goal then is to fight to the top of just, let's say, 3 extraction points at specific locations in the map and call in a helicopter and extract. Since there's more people on the server, then this helicopter can hold 12 people or 3 teams. You don't craft a flare gun, you just fight to the top of the building, shoot a flare, and extract. Now the loot all comes from the post-game screen like an OG Survival, and is based on your performance, except there's one way to get loot, in this case let's just say a rare cache, in the mode itself, and that's through 3 methods. Either a rare boss drop, killing a manhunt, or surviving a manhunt. Now the rogue system would work like it did in 1.0, except you buy off your manhunt like you do in 2.0. So everyone can work together and get your loot like in PvE survival, or you can fight one another and get your loot that way. The catch is, the only loot you get is when you extract, so that's the risk factor for rogues this time around. Instead of losing XP, is that if you die on Manhunt, you gain nothing and you've wasted, say, 15 minutes. Or, if you survive a Manhunt and buy it off, you can go extract with another group and get your rare cash along with the regular rewards. So personally, the way that I just described it, I think would be pretty cool. It would be highly replayable and would offer fast and intense action. I'm sure there are loopholes in my idea, and there'd have to be measures to counteract like a 4v46, but it's just an outline. If this is what the devs are planning, then I'm sure they've had a long time to think this through. Also, one last note is that if this were true, then I sincerely hope that the PvP modes that have been confirmed on the Division 2's official site aren't normalized like they are in Division 1. This way there's still somewhere to make a PvP build and test it out just like you made it. Alright everyone, well that's my theory. Again, this is all speculation. Maybe I'm looking way too into this, or maybe I'm onto something, who knows. I'm sure over the next few months leading to the beta we'll be able to get more info on the state of PvP and the DZ, and we won't have to be guessing anymore. Thank you so much for watching everyone. Links to all those sources are in the description like I mentioned, and make sure to tell me in the comments if you like this idea, hate it, or really anywhere in between. But until then guys, RogueGold out.